Damon Khan here for Seconds Out with former man in the corner of Daniel Dubois and great mind for boxing, James Ali Bashir. James, we just witnessed something incredible. Talk me through what you saw unfold in front of your eyes between Anthony Joshua and Daniel Dubois.
Well, in my opinion, Daniel Dubois is such a young guy. I can actually see Daniel Dubois being the modern day Sonny Liston, the way he dismantled Anthony Joshua. I mean, he walked through a firestorm of heavy punches, and he even took a couple of good blows from Joshua, and it didn't faze him one bit. So I can see Daniel Dubois being the present day Sonny Liston. I don't see anybody equal to Sonny Liston in modern times other than Daniel Dubois. Because Dubois walked through a firestorm to have his way, to establish himself as the front runner in the heavyweight division. Anthony Joshua was yesterday, but off of that performance there, I would say that Daniel Dubois is the man to see now.
What of Dubois' attributes got him through this fight? Was it his punching power, his footwork, his aggression? What was the factors that got him through against his chin, maybe, and his heart? What was it that really saw him through the victory?
The heart and his determination, his focus. He was determined to prove that he belonged, and he did that tonight. What did I tell you? I told you that the fight would not last more than 6 rounds. It wasn't a boxing match. It was a match. It was a bombs away. You get me or I get you. Well, we're gonna lay it on the line right from the very beginning, and you saw that.
What was your assessment of Anthony Joshua's offering tonight?
What did you say?
What was your assessment of Anthony Joshua's offering tonight?
I was surprised that Joshua allowed himself to get into a shootout like that with a young, enthusiastic guy like Dubois. I think he would have been better served by working behind the jab and boxing a little more. Like I said, neither one of them displayed any good boxing skills. They both came out going for it. They was going for the sky, and whoever lands first bomb is going to get the other guy in trouble. It's just what I told you. I told you it was going to be a short fight and explosive, and I was right.
Eddie Hearn suggested that AJ should have taken 5 minutes for an apparent low blow and put it down to Anthony Joshua's inexperience in the ring to not take the full 5. Did you see this low blow that Eddie Hearn suggested, and should AJ have taken that full 5 to, reacclimatize himself?
Oh, stop it. Low blow my foot. Yeah, well, I mean, this is a fight. This is not a daycare center. So what? They got it. So you landed a low blow, but it wasn't a flagrant low blow. And if it did happen, it happened one time. It's not a tit for tat, a tea party here. So it's a boxing match. It's for the heavyweight championship of the world. So yeah, there's gonna be some infraction, but it wasn't so flagrant that the whole fight rested on the results of it.
It did seem like, though, for all the faults of AJ's game, and even though he was rocked heavily, he seemed to be looking to land that big punch, and he did land that before it ended. Dubois was able to come back and fire back and stop AJ. Did you feel that?
AJ landed a couple of good bombs, good shots, but Dubois was so focused and so determined. He just wasn't going to let nothing stop him. That's why I said, if you're looking for modern day Sonny Liston, you'd have to look to Daniel Dubois. He's the modern day Sonny Liston because he came through, man. He came through, and he came through fighting. He wasn't asking for no favors, and he wasn't giving none. He said, look, I'm here to fight. And he stepped on the gas, and he did his thing. Kudos to Don Charles and company. They did a good job getting him ready, not just physically, but mentally. So kudos to Don Charles. Let's see if Don Charles get the credit that they was trying to give her this Ben Davis. All I hear about is Ben Davis. Ben Davis, So let's see if they're going to give Don Charles the same credit that they give Ben Davis. All you hear about is Ben Davis, Ben Davis, Ben Davis, Ben Davis. Let's see if they give Don Charles the same thing, because Don Charles has the heavyweight champion of the world. And he didn't come in on a magic carpet. He came in walking, and he bombed out Anthony Joshua. He bombed him out. He stopped him. Joshua couldn't get up in that last round. He couldn't get up.
Let me ask you a couple of questions off of that. First of all, from what you were able to see and gather from the corners, what did you make of the corner work from both men?
You know, I have to go back and watch it again. I have to go back. I was just so programmed into watching the boxing and what I would have done as a trainer. So I'd have to go back and reassess. You know, I have to reassess. Some aggression, you know. I think that the corner work is so essential in any fight. But again, Don Charles bested Ben Davis in those corners. Just look, you see what I told you? This is what's going on. This is what you got to pay attention to and go for it. Don Charles assessed the situation in hand, gave up Daniel Dubois the information that he needed, the essential information to go out there to do the job, and he did it.
Do you think Don Charles will get the credit?
No, I don't think so. I don't think so. I don't think he'll get the credit. But the people in the know in boxing knows that Don Charles was responsible for the way that Daniel Dubois acted in that ring. And now Daniel Dubois is the man to beat. He's the man. He's the man in the heavyweight division. Alexander Usyk is looking to walk away from it. So I would say that Daniel Dubois is the new Sonny Liston on the block, and it's going to have to be dealt with. He's going to have to be dealt with. And you can't come in there with no roses and bouquet, no flowers and stuff. You got to come in there and fight. Because Daniel Dubois is not taking no prisoners. And it has so much to do. People is like overlooking the situation, but it has so much to do with the mindset of the trainer. And he infused his thinking into Daniel Dubois, and Daniel Dubois went out and got the job done.
James, let me ask you of the future for both men. I believe Anthony Joshua has said that he's going to look to continue and rebuild, and there's a future fight with Tyson Fury that was stated that regardless of the result, they'll look to make that fight in the future. Do you think that's the right fight? Do you think AJ should continue?
You know, I think that AJ at this point, off of that fight tonight, I think that AJ is damaged goods. I think he's damaged goods. Can he go on and fight? Yeah, he can go on and win some fights, but I don't think a fight with Tyson Fury is the right fight right now, because I think AJ is damaged goods. I just think emotionally, mentally, he's just damaged goods. That's a shocking defeat tonight. That was a shocking defeat. In that last round, he couldn't even get up. It was a shocking defeat. Sometimes getting over the mental hurdle is more difficult than getting over the physical hurdle. He got beaten up tonight by the new Sonny Liston. He got beaten up tonight.
What of Daniel Dubois' chances and the opportunity that should be afforded to him? Do you feel like a rematch with Alexander Usyk would bear a different result if it were to happen?
I think that another fight with Alexander Usyk will be a great, great fight, because right now they're the two best heavyweights in the world. You know, I don't know that it would be any different, but I'd be willing to chance it and say, yeah, put him back in with Usyk.
Mm.
You know, because I know that Dubois is itching to get himself straight with that. He wants to go back at Usyk and prove that he's a better fighter than what showed up in the first fight with Usyk.
I want to
There,
ask you just.
there's
Mm.
something that I, as a boxing trainer, that would correct with Daniel Dubois. You know, some things that Usyk would take advantage of, because Usyk is truly a cat. He'll pick up on different things, different flaws in Daniel Dubois' style, you know. But Daniel Dubois is the new Sonny Liston on the block. He's got the guns to prove it.
I want to ask you that because you were in camp twice with Anthony Joshua for Klitschko and then for Usyk as well, and you're comparing Daniel Dubois to Sonny Liston, but some might make the comparison to Daniel Dubois and AJ on the come up when he was fighting Vladimir Klitschko. Is that a right comparison to make, that maybe Daniel Dubois exhibits some of the characteristics of the destructive AJ when he was on the way to winning his world title?
You know, I think that that Vladimir Klitschko has got to look back on his career and say, I let him go. I had him. You know, had Vladimir came out in the round after he knocked AJ down, and if he had came out and attacked AJ instead of Jonathan Banks instructing him to hold back and conserve his energy, no. My thinking at that point would be that Emmanuel Stewart, I could hear him from the grave saying, go after him, roll the dice, go after him. Because the only one that could benefit from Vladimir laying back is the younger guy. And Vladimir was older than Joshua, you know, 6 or 7 years, maybe more. So I think that him rolling the dice at that time, he would have gotten Joshua, because Joshua was still shaky coming out in that next round. But when he saw that Vladimir was laying back, he collected himself and had a resurgence of energy. So it was improper directions given by Jonathan Banks in that corner, saying, conserve yourself. No. Roll the dice now, because the only one that can benefit from you laying back is this young guy. And that's exactly what happened. So that was an error. That was an error on the corner's behalf. And if you look back at the stoppage, I think the referee stopped the fight because of Vladimir's seemed fatigued against those ropes. But if you go back and slow the video down, all of the punches that Joshua was hitting, throwing at Vladimir against those ropes, none of the punches landed. None of those punches were landing. The referee just stopped the fight because Vladimir seemed fatigued. But if you examine that last part of the fight that was stopped, anybody can go back and examine it. None of those punches was landed. None of them. None of them. Not one of them. Just look at the punch. Vladimir was blocking all the punches. But that's spilled milk. We talking about Daniel Dubois now. You know, I don't want to see Tyson Fury versus Anthony Joshua. I just think that it's a lackluster fight now. It's just when the fights meant something. I think that Anthony Joshua and the puncher. I'm so out of it right now. You know, the puncher, why can't I remember his name?
Wilder.
Wilder. It just escaped me. I think when the fight meant something,
Yeah.
it was like 6 years ago when Wilder and Joshua meant something. That was the opportunity. But you got to capture the moment. It's sort of like when Mayweather and Pacquiao fought. It was all right, but everybody, it wasn't what it could have been. It was not what it could have been. I wasn't enthusiastic about Mayweather and Pacquiao when they fought because it was just too long past the due date. If they had been when they both was hot, the same thing with Joshua and Wilder when they were hot. Now all when Joshua and Fury were hot, that's when the fight meant something. Now it's not the same. It's not the same. It doesn't mean nothing. And now he's been knocked out by Daniel Dubois. It definitely doesn't mean nothing.
James, it's been a pleasure speaking to you, and it'll be a good conversation. Looking forward to our next one. Thank you so much for speaking to me and Seconds Out.
Yes,
we'll catch up
yes,
very soon.
yes. I just want to see one thing before you leave. To the people you're listening to, the people that's going to listen to this video, let's see if Don Charles gets the same appraise, the same hype, and the same pump, and the same this, that, and the other that this guy Ben Davis get. All right? You hear all of this talk about Ben Davis this and Ben Davis that, and Ben Davis is going to do such and such, and he's done this to Anthony Johnson, he's done that to Anthony. Well, Humpty Dumpty fell off the wall. Humpty Dumpty had a great fall. And all the king's horses and all the king's men couldn't put old Humpty back together again, not even with crazy glue. You understand? If Joshua could come back now and become the 3-time heavyweight champion of the world, I can tell him now, get yourself a trainer. Because there's things that I saw in that training regime that he was doing with Ben Davis. Ben Davis doesn't know. Ben Davis is an apprentice. He's an apprentice trainer. All right, he's an apprentice. They say he's this, he's that. He had willing participants. So if Anthony Joshua could come back now, at this stage of his career, and this will prove that he is truly a great, great champion.